Hello and welcome everyone. We are here with round 4 with the list that you see on screen. We are currently 3-0, very exciting, and hopefully we can continue on this streak, go 4-0, maybe 5-0. We'll see very shortly here. If you are not familiar with the deck list, then check out match 1. That's where I do a little bit of a deck tech in detail, and I will not be going over that here. Instead, let us jump straight into the match. Alright, and we have our match. Let's jump in here and be on the play. I'm calling it now. On the play. Let's go. That did not age well. I guess we're on the draw. And we have a hand that gets a turn 2 Dryad into play. And has a Titan. We need to draw some lands, which hopefully we can do with this Explorer. Playing against a Lurrus deck, so this could be Hammer Time. This could be like a Devoted Druid type strategy. I think we're still keeping. Having a Dryad in play for our Titan is going to be very important in those types of matchups, so it could be black-red, like Prowess or something. Or Mill, perhaps, as I see this Polluted Delta. There's a lot of things that Lurrus could represent. Monstrous Spear. Okay, that's actually what we wanted to see. Although, Death Shadow could be a rough matchup, but at least we have the tools here. We'll name Beast and get our little Arboreal Grazer into play here. Growth Chamber into play. Passes back. Another Swift Spear, A. And a Bobble. Second Bobble. Do we cash in a Grazer for 3 points of life? I mean, I think we can. Might even be more than 3 points of life here, as our opponent is representing some additional effects here. They bobble us, and they fetch. I guess they didn't even want to see what was their top card. Perhaps because they knew they were casting something this turn anyways. The Thoughtseize, obviously. See what they take. At least we have redundant Dryads here. Hopefully they bobbled and saw a bounce land on top of our deck. That would be fantastic, like a Gruul Turf. We'll see what they take here. Of course, they bobbled the top card of our deck so that they know all of the relevant information that they can. They're definitely blocking this turn. I don't want to take a huge chunk of 8. And, yeah. We'll see where things go from there. Our opponent is on 1 card left. Alright, they can draw their card from the bobble. Each of these bobbles was basically a 0-mana shock. I mean, I suppose that it was actually a 0-mana 1 damage spell because of the fact that our Grazer blocked one of the Swift Spears, so... Okay, a land is actually not terrible here. I think we're just throwing a Dryad into play. I would like to cycle this Explorer, but there's no way to do that and also play a 3-drop, so I'm just going to get the Dryad into play here. We can cast Explorer this upcoming turn, perhaps. We'll name Giant here just to be safe. And we will pass it back. That's all we got. Looking a little rough. We still need a Titan. We still need some more lands. Maybe we have the time. Maybe we don't. We'll see if our opponent uses this upcoming turn to put Lurrus into their hand. They very well may. It's also not clear whether we're blocking with Dryad or not. I feel like we can afford not to, but again, it's pretty unclear. I suppose the best thing we could draw would be an untapped source, so we can play Dryad and Explorer in the same turn. Actually, a bounce land would allow us, assuming we keep this Dryad in play, a bounce land would allow us to Dryad and Explorer, and also get to Titan mana very fast. So a bounce land would be our best draw. We're going to block the Courier here. No reason to give our opponent the ability to draw a bunch of extra cards. If they want to bolt the Dryad, that's probably okay. We can lose 1 Dryad, it's no big deal. Definitely not blocking a Swift Spear, as the likelihood is a single spell will just make this absorb 2 damage and not actually get a threat out of play. And we don't want to let our opponent build up cards underneath his courier, so I think it's probably best to block like this. Opponent's throwing the fetch out here. See what they got. It's definitely a Death Shadow deck, I would say. They do have the bolt. Can't tell where they're pointing it. It may be at our face? Maybe they have double bolt here. That's 6. We're at 3. And we have the untapped source, but... Okay, let's lead off, I suppose, on this Explorer. Leaving a blue floating in case we need to transmute. We don't. Alright, well, let's get another Dryad into play here. And we'll make some land drops. And that will be that. Pick up the Ghost Quarter, I suppose. Definitely not attacking. And now we are dead to a Lightning Bolt effect. Not much that can be done about that. If we are able to top deck a Titan and our opponent doesn't have Bolt this turn, then we might be fine. Because we can search for a Radiant Fountain and a bounce land and then just go ham that way. Gain 4, maybe a little more than that, life would be nice. Probably it'll just be 4 life, but that's still better than nothing, as our opponent plays a Peatland. So they have the choice of either cycling the Peatland this turn, or putting Lurrus in their hand. I wonder what they'll choose to do. They go for Lurrus, which makes a lot of sense. Alright, Titan off the top, let's go. Actually, Titan just kills him, doesn't it? Explore. That one's not fantastic. I mean, we have to cast it, but... Another Explorer is not fantastic, but we have to cast it. Another Dryad, huh? Okay. I guess we're throwing that one into play. Sure. Do we clock for 2? I think we can. Let's see, if we do get a Titan, we'll search for double Valakut. No, we'll search for Valakut and a bounce land, and that'll be 6 damage. We can pick up the Vesuva and play Vesuva as a copy of Valakut, and that'll be 12 damage total. Okay, I guess we're just passing. If we draw a Titan, we're killing them immediately, and if we don't, then we're probably dying immediately. And that's where things stand, so... No reason to let ourselves lose to a Fatal Push and then an attack. Something like that. If we attacked with a Dryad, and then they Fatal Pushed one Dryad and attacked us with an additional spell, they could put us down to as low as 1 or 0, as they play the Lurrus here, which is totally expected. Swift Spear. Okay, so it's probably a fantastic thing that we didn't attack with a Dryad here. Let's always yield to these Swift Spears. It might have been correct for them not to play the Swift Spear so that they could top deck a Bolt off the top and cast it at instant speed. Now if we top deck a Titan, we literally just win, whereas they could have potentially drawn a Bolt during our upkeep, so that was probably a mistake. Titan. Titan. Primeval Titan. Not you, Simian Spirit Guide. Why? Okay. Are we playing that one? I mean, I guess so. Into play. At this point, we're just living on borrowed time because our opponent's going to be drawing several cards, and one of them is almost guaranteed to be some kind of burn effect. Just get as many blockers in play as possible. Definitely not attacking into our opponent's Lurrus. Pass it back. You know what? Maybe we should have Ghost Quartered this Peatland. That probably would have been a good idea. Oh well. We'll see if they tap it now. We might have just denied ourselves an extra chance. I didn't even think about it until we had already passed the turn, but Ghost Quartering this Peatland could have been quite an effective strategy, I think. Well, our opponent is likely not winning on the ground, so that's nice. They target themselves with the bauble. Fetch land, okay. So that one of the cards that they've drawn is a land, which is good for us. They are fetching. I think maybe we Ghost Quarter the Peatland now, because they're fetching to get rid of the top card that they don't like. Yeah, I'm game. We still have Titan mana, so if we top deck a Titan, just Valakut and a bounce land is still lethal, so don't have to worry about that. So just try to deny them a good card draw here. They do draw the card that was on top, which is intriguing. Alright, now we can yield through this turn. Of course, they get the swamp from their fetch and not from the Ghost Quarter, which is fizzled. The old terminology would be countered upon resolution, but that causes issues when it comes to uncounterable cards like Abrupt Decay, where technically they can't be countered, but they can still be fizzled, so that's why they changed the terminology. Scourge of the Skyclaves doesn't really change much. We still need to top deck a Titan or we're dead. So, that Ghost Quarter of play might have been what saves us this game. Alright, Titan off the top. Ooh, a Valakut. Does not quite do it. We can kill the Lurrus, though, and deny our opponent further card draws. Shooting our opponent doesn't do much. Alright, yeah, well, let's just, oh, it doesn't actually do anything because we don't have enough lands because of the Ghost Quarter. Okay, well, pass it back and hope, again, that we're not dead and that we can top deck a Titan. Now a bounce land is also lethal, or a Talari West. We're dead to a lot of things, though. A Bolt, a Lava Spike, probably a Lava Dart as well. A Temur Battle Rage. Verdant Catacombs is not something that we're dead to. This is a very large Scourge of the Skyclaves, by the way. This is definitely not your typical game against Red-Black Shadow. As our opponent's got several redraws here. Swinging with everything. No clue if this is lethal or not, but let's try our best here. So we block here, we block here, we block here, and we block here, and we are still dead. Okay, well, it was a close game. I definitely don't think that we should have been winning this first game. Our opponent just got unlucky with their draws, not hitting any other burn spells. Let's see if we would have drawn the Titan. Turn Timber. Well, maybe. Let's see, our 7 cards off of the Turn Timber would have been non-Titan cards, so we would not have been getting there, even if we could cast a Turn Timber, which I didn't check, but it doesn't matter. Against them, we're going to want Dismembers, I think. We're going to want Explosives, for sure. Do we want Relics? Probably not, I would think. They might have Blood Moons, they might not. Wilt could be good, it could also be terrible. Beast Within can trade a Death Shadow or a Scourge for a 3/3, which is not particularly amazing, but it's not irrelevant. And now I'm thinking about it, I actually don't really like Dismember against them because it very seldom will kill a Scourge of the Skyclaves or a Death Shadow, and more likely it turns on our opponent's Scourge of the Skyclaves, so I'm not sure that I actually want Dismember. I'd rather have Beast Within, I think, but it's kind of close. And our opponent does play discard, so Explore is going to be good here. We can trim a Pact. We can probably trim the Bog pretty safely. I don't really care that much about Lurrus. We can trim an Azusa so that we don't have dead top decks if we already have an Azusa in play. What else? Maybe Spirit Guide? I can see trimming in Spirit Guide. Maybe we could trim even more Spirit Guides. Maybe Spirit Guides are really bad, because Grays are at least blocks, but Spirit Guide doesn't, and it's kind of an awkward one. We could like have Relics instead, since they at least cycle, or we could have those Dismembers like I was talking about. A little unclear. I don't really think that Relic is particularly good here, in all honesty, but nah, I'd rather have the Spirit Guides, I think. We'll just run it back like this. And we'll be on the play, of course. Hand of all lands. Nah. This hand really wishes any of these lands were a green source that entered untapped. Man, this hand is so slow. But it has the things that we would want. If we top deck a untapped green source, then we have Explore for turn 2. Like, I don't know. This hand's kind of borderline. I don't know if it's even possible to draw a 5 that's better than this. Like, say we put back a Beast Within. This 6 might be better than any 5 we can get. I don't know. It's really rough, though. Our opponent also mulliganed. I think we have to keep this. It feels terrible, though. Definitely getting rid of the Beast Within. I think it's the weakest card that we have here. We could top deck an untapped green source. We could top deck an Amulet. Those are the main things that we could top deck. Our opponent mulligans to 5, so it looks like they're mulliganing even further than we are. So maybe this hand will work out fine if they can't clock us too fast. It's also worth noting that our opponent probably has access to Cleansing Wildfire, which we might need to play around if possible. Although, with our current land setup, it might not even be possible to play around Cleansing Wildfire, so we'll see. Alright, we'll lead on this Hanweir, as there's literally no point in doing anything else. Of course, if you lead on the Growth Chamber, it just bounces itself, which accomplishes nothing, literally. Like, actual nothing. Hey, we got the untapped green source. Yeah, I think we explore here. It's more mana efficient. We get the card draw. Ooh, this Amulet actually makes me tempted to keep the Growth Chamber in hand. I think that's going to be the best play. Awkwardly enough. Pass it back. I know we showed our opponent that we have a Growth Chamber, but it's all good. It's all right. 3, 4. Let's see, we can make 3 Azusa up to 4, 5. We are very close to having Titan this upcoming turn, but we don't have it. Another Grazer would do it. Of course, our opponent might Thought Seize us here and punish the Simic Growth Chamber thing, but which is why it would have been better not to play the Growth Chamber at all. The fact that we picked the Growth Chamber back up... Okay. That's an interesting one. Doesn't really make me want to Summoner's Pact here at all. Let's play the Amulet. Let's play the land... Play a Grazer as well, I suppose. And we could get a Dryad into play now, but we'd have to leave the bounce land in play to pay for the patch, so I guess not. Pass it back. I guess there's an argument for not playing the Grazer, even though it's going to potentially cost us some points of life from these ragtag creatures over here, just because it guarantees us Titan mana this upcoming turn. Now if we Summoner's Pact for an Azusa and play it, we're relying on our opponent not to be able to kill the Azusa, which admittedly on 2 cards they are pretty unlikely to be able to do, but... Oh, please put Luris in your hand. Blood Moon. Okay. Well, now we know to bring in the Wilt. That one's kind of annoying. We'll block the Scourge here and take the 3, I think. I think that makes sense. Okay, yeah, we need a lot of help here. Grazer. I mean, that one blocks at least. And I guess we'll just pass it back. Don't think there's a reason to pack for and play anything. That could be wrong, though. Maybe packing for and playing a Dryad would have been the best choice. Seeing as we're not going to be doing anything else this upcoming turn anyways. But if we top deck something that we can play this upcoming turn, instead of a land, then we can just play it. And this also does play around Thoughtseize, which our opponent does have. That said, I'm not even sure that getting a Titan into play is going to be good enough against what our opponent has going here. I guess the idea is that we can chump block Scourge and try to get Titan into play before the Scourge becomes higher than a 5/5, but I just don't really see that happening while also being able to get to Titan mana, sadly, so. They take the Pact. Interesting. Okay. So we're definitely blocking the Swift Spear. The question is, do we chump block the Scourge? I think we probably do. Actually, let's not. We'll probably gain more life after this fact by chump blocking the Scourge later. We might be putting ourselves to dead to Temur Battle Rage, but that doesn't really bother me. Third Grazer, huh? Well, there we go. Into play. Pass it back. Yeah, I think we're losing this game, sadly. Now, their Scourge can't grow greater than an 8/8, though, because their life total is what's cutting off the power and toughness now, so that's nice. Them top-decking lands is also nice. They can't even cast Luris, since it requires double black, and they didn't reveal Luris. I actually didn't notice that. So I guess we could have seen Blood Moon coming. I didn't notice that they didn't reveal Luris before. I wonder if that means that they just left it in their sideboard and chose to board in the Blood Moons and not reveal it, or if they boarded in the Luris. Okay, well, if our opponent manages to continue to top deck like this and we hit land, Summoner's Pact. Don't think that there's anything we can realistically pact for. I guess we could pact for, like, a Dryad. We didn't bring in the Sage, I don't think. Maybe that could have been a mistake, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, the best thing that we can do is pack for a Dryad here, and I think that we probably should do that. Let's make sure that the Sage is in the sideboard, and it is. Alright, well, let's just pack for a Dryad. Try to continue to be on the board. This stops our opponent from attacking with their Swift Spear at all. And pass it back. We lose to something like a Fulminator Mage, but I just don't see it. To be honest, I don't see that happening. And if it does, that's fine, because we were probably going to lose this game anyways, so I think our best out is to try to stay on the board and give ourselves the time to top deck lands into Titan, and maybe we can find one of those beast withins that we put on the bottom before. It's pretty unlikely, though. Feed the Swarm. Destroy target creature or enchantment and opponent controls. You lose life equal to that permanent's converted mana cost. Okay, well, their Scourge is going to be a lot bigger now. Alright, let's block both creatures, of course. Gruul Turf. That's a land, which means we can cast Titan this upcoming turn if we draw another land. Of course, our Titan will just be chump blocking the Scourge, so don't know if there's anything we can realistically do here. I suppose the best thing we can do here is to get a Field of the Dead and like a Talaria West and hope that we can top deck Beast Within. That probably does not even win the game either, but I mean, now we're in chump blocking with Primeval Titan territory, so it's unlikely we'll ever be able to do anything. And now we're just actually dead. Unfortunate. Hard to beat Blood Moon out of the sideboard of an aggressive deck like this. Maybe we should have brought in Wilt to play around it, but I guess you live and you learn. Should have sideboarded out those Simian Spirit Guides for Wilt. And definitely keep that one in mind as we go to our last match, where hopefully we can end up 4-1. But if we don't, that's fine. We're here for the learning and the entertainment. And if you were entertained, or if you feel like you learned something in this match, then go ahead and leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I remind you because I have to. And yeah, I'll see you guys for the 5th and final match. This is Redface Menace, signing off.